Hello, and welcome to this day 22 of our welcome to day 22 of our epic adventure 100 days of magic, where I am trying to give you tips and tricks, ways to think about things that can add magic to your life in little everyday ways that can over time make big changes in your whole life and the way you walk through your days. My name is Donna Woodwell. I am the one who has organized this space, the Crossroads of Magic and Mastery, that's got two major goals. One is to provide a space for those who create content to be able to share it with the world. Unlike most other groups, you don't have to ask us permission to share your blog post, your announcements for books, your announcements for class that you are running, your anything else that you do to provide tools to support people on their magical journey is more than welcome in this space. Just post. The only thing that's not allowed here is things that involve personal consultations, for the reason that lots of people here do personal consultations, and that would get a little overwhelming. So it's just the stuff that you produce to help people along their journeys that they can consume immediately. That is more than fair game for this space. The second purpose of this group is for all of us, whether we are studying astrology or tarot or other kinds of magic, have a place to cross-fertilize what we do. It's so easy for people in magical groups to get in their little baby silos. I do chaos magic, or I am an astrologer, I am a tarot reader, and think that since the languages can be so complicated, that there's no connecting space. And we need connecting spaces. We need our crossroads right now more than ever. Because if people from different perspectives in the magical community can't even get together and agree, why do we think that people from other communities all over the political spectrum can get together and agree? Or at least have respectful conversations. Hence, the crossroads are so important. Hello, Boris, and hello, Claudia. I'm glad you are here today. As we continue our adventure in day 22, we're going to be talking about the magical power of breath. For the last couple of days, we've been talking about how we can think about water and its magical potential, how we can think about the food we eat and its magical potential. Now we're going to speak about breath. Because, quite frankly, I could have started with this. You can live without food for a month. You can live without water for a couple days. You can live without air for a couple minutes. We can see how air is even more vital to our lives than the stuff that we've talked about already. So consider this for a moment. How many spiritual and meditative practices, how many martial arts practices, how many stress relieving practices all start with the breath? Breath is something that we have to have to be alive. Our essential, one of our primary functions, the in and out breathing, is one of the primary physical manifestations of the polarity of life. We breathe in, we breathe out. We breathe in, we breathe out. In that steady rhythm that keeps life flowing. As such, that in and out breath reminds us of all of the polarities in which we find ourselves. Planets are polar opposites of one another as well. We breathe in, we breathe in oxygen, we breathe out, we release carbon dioxide in the world. In-breath is like the sun, breathing in light and life. Breathing out is like the moon, where we relax and release. Or breathing in is like Venus, attracting something to ourselves. Breathing out is like separating. Or maybe breathing in is like Jupiter expanding. Breathing out is like Saturn and contracting. So why it is such a potent symbol in all of our esoteric practices is that it reminds us to find the center place while change is going on. We can also learn how to work with our breath to change our energy levels, so to speak. Breathing in oxygen. Oxygen is the fire in our blood. Quite literally. Oxygen is the thing that burns our blood and turns it red. So when we breathe it in, we are increasing our energy levels. When we breathe it out, we are relaxing. There's all kinds of breathing patterns. We breathe in a little extra more and oxygenate our system. That can make us more alert as we go through life. If we tilt a little bit towards the side of breathing out, we become more relaxed. For example, there is a traditional breathing rhythm for falling asleep faster. Breathe in for the count of 4, hold for a count of 7, and breathe out for a count of 8. So the fact that we are counting twice as long to breathe out as we are to breathe in, we are leaning in on the relaxation function of breath. And when you learn all of the amazing things working with your breath can do, from just focusing on it as a place to come back to when you're meditating, because it brings you back to your sense of self, all the way to using it how to raise and lower your energies, understanding its symbolic meaning, you begin to understand why it can be such a potent tool in our magical practice. Now, one of the key things that I worked with when I started my magical practice years and years ago, the first place I stopped was 10 years of training in person with a woman who had lived on a Native American reservation. She had married into the tribe, and with their permission, she was continuing to teach what she learned out here in the white world. And most of our learning, even though she gave us classes, she did psychic readings and channelings and energy work, the backbone of our work and learning how to have a spiritual life was to sit in ceremony. And ceremony is just all about learning how to work with your imagination, to quiet the mind, to understand and inhabit your own body, to be able to work directly with your psychic energy fields and use it to travel all kinds of other places. And ceremony starts with the ability to relax, which means learning how to follow your breath. It's kind of like following your breath and watching a movie at the same time, but go with it here. So I can't stress enough how much learning how to work with breath and the simple meditations that come with it can be such a fundamental aspect of our spiritual life. Even people who don't call themselves spiritual at all have to recognize, given the number of studies that have been done on the power of meditation and all of its side benefits, reducing stress, increasing mindfulness, increasing creativity, reducing conflict and violence. All of these things are side benefits from just learning how to be present to your breath. It's almost becoming crazy that in order to be a good member of society, a good human, that learning how to meditate is not a fundamental life skill that everyone needs to learn in order to maximize your potential in this crazy thing called life. So knowing all of this, this is where I have to challenge you. How much time do you spend thinking about how you breathe? And if the answer is none, you may want to think a little bit differently about that. Because knowing how you breathe can tell you a lot about how you're experiencing life at the moment. If your breaths are short, you are running anxious. If your breath is up here in the top of your chest, that's another indication of being anxious all the time. If you're deepening your breath into your body, you are relaxing and becoming more embodied. And the irony of, one of the ironies of mental health is that trauma tends to knock us out of our physical body. We run as fast as we can to not feel physical because we think physical is the site of our pain, which in the immediate moment might be true. But as we go on in life and move on to other things, even after the trauma is over, if we don't get back in our physical bodies, we lose our connection to our biggest source of power and safety that we have. And that's part of the healing process, is to learn to get back in touch with our physical self, because so many more things become possible from that point. We increase our energy to respond to the world. We recognize we have power to make changes in our life, which helps us to feel safer because we feel like we have a sense of agency to meet whatever life throws our direction. So, breath, understanding it, being present to it, has got to be one of the foundational principles of anyone's spiritual practice and anyone's magical practice. And when you can link up breath and visualization, all of a sudden you realize you can use it to relax, breathe in and breathe out, and incorporate that with any place you find tension in your body. Breathe into that place and breathe out. You can breathe up your connection to earth. You can breathe down your connection to spirit. You can mix them up in yourself and become the living crossroads of life between heaven and earth. You can ride that breath into yourself, find that divine spark within you, and then move with that as a vehicle into all other kinds of states of awareness. Realizing that you can breathe in energy from the cosmos, from spirit, from the earth. You can use it to blow into objects that you want to clear and fill with energy. If you want to get into deep shamanic healing, shamanic healers often suck out the dark bits and blow them out so that you are helping clear the dark energies and sending them back to places where they can be transformed into something else. So many possibilities that your homework today is simply to tune into your breath and watch it and feel it. And if you feel resistance in this process, it's a perfect place to start questioning why. Where does the resistance come from and why? After all, living a spiritual life starts with asking questions about getting to know thyself. It's difficult to create the life you have always wanted if you do not know who you are and what you want. And that process has to start somewhere. Okay? Well, if you got any questions about breath, or you want to talk about how you're already using breath in your own spiritual practice and magical practice, I'm sure people would love to hear about your experiences. Feel free to put them in the chat underneath the video here. If you have people in your life that could benefit from hearing these little snippets, feel free to pick this video up and share it with your own pages. That is the beauty of the Crossroads of Magic and Mastery. It is a completely public group, so anything here can be shared anywhere. I don't mind at all. And if you have people in your life who you think could have a little bit of magic, or you just want to make it available, please feel free. I don't think we have any questions yet, but if you have any, I would love to keep the conversation going. Oh, hello, Pat. Hello, Christine. Pat says, read Breath by James Nestor. You will never not think about how you breathe. Excellent point. Pat has recommended a book, Breath by James Nestor. We should all put it on our reading list. I trust Pat. Christine Robinson says, is Robin back up and functioning? For those of you who don't know, I run a magic school called the School of Magic and Mastery. We have all kinds of classes, astrology classes on doing planetary magic, tarot classes, Kabbalah classes, a private learning group called the Coven with another 48 hours of training. I have lots and lots of things to help you find the tools that you need to build your magical experience. So if you've ever wanted to have a coven to work with, if you've ever wanted to do ceremonies together, if you've ever wanted to go deeper into the Western magical tradition, I got you covered. But I can't do it alone. So while I have spent the last 3 years making literally 130 hours of training materials, various levels for people, Robin is the combination of icebreaker that gets all the stuff out of the way and glue that keeps everything working smoothly. So we are both working full-time on making this all available for you. And unfortunately, a few weeks ago, she got COVID, and her whole family got COVID. So things have been, but as it is for moms, everyone gets COVID. The boys and the ex-husband get to have Robin make them food and get better much faster. And of course, Robin takes a little longer because she's been running around like a crazy person with COVID, trying to take care of a sick family. So she is getting better. She's getting better much more quickly now that everybody else is better. But, it's COVID. It takes a while. So I will tell her you asked, and we will all continue to send her light and life. Okay? Anything else? All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Breathe, be aware, and we will be back tomorrow to talk about the power of magic and movement. So I hope you will tune in then. And until that time, take care, everyone.